Hollyoaks' Jacob Omari will come under suspicion next week as Darren and Nancy Osborne's child Morgan goes missing. In scenes set to air next week, Frankie looks after Morgan at home, but pops out into the village to give Jacob the wallet he left behind. When she returns, Morgan is gone. As police detective Donnie Clark starts asking questions, Frankie encourages Jacob to lie and say that they were in the house the entire time. Darren, who has consistently been suspicious of Jacob after everything that he and his mumcat had done while working for the exploitation group, accuses him of still being under Claire Devine's control and having something to do with Morgan's disappearance. Any chance of Jacob protesting his innocence goes out the window when he gets a text from none other than Claire. Is Darren, who also gives Claire an interrogation, correct with his suspicions? And if Claire, Jacob or the exploitation gang aren't involved, then who is? And will the Osbornes be able to find Morgan before anything awful happens? Jacob and Frankie's mistake means that Morgan is now missing, explains our insider for the Channel 4 soap. But Darren is convinced that Jacob is involved in the actual abduction. It seems that the teen has turned his life around, especially with his blossoming relationship with Frankie. But with a mysterious text causing suspicion, is Jacob still following Claire's orders? Hollyoaks' 3,000-word feature. Jacob under suspicion as Morgan Osborne goes missing. A shocking new mystery rocks Chester. Hollyoaks is set to deliver another nail-biting week of drama as the Osborne family faces every parent's worst nightmare. Nancy and Darren's young child, Morgan, suddenly goes missing, and all eyes immediately turn to one person, Jacob Omari. The storyline promises not just to test loyalties and relationships, but also to revisit some very dark chapters from Hollyoaks' past, particularly Jacob's troubled history with the exploitation gang and his sinister connection to Claire Devine. With secrets, lies, and a devastating disappearance at the center of the plot, the coming week could reshape multiple lives in the village. Let's break down everything we know about the twist, explore the backstory that led us here, and look ahead at the possibilities of who might be responsible. Morgan's disappearance. What happens? The tension begins innocently enough. Morgan is left at home under Frankie's care. It should be a safe, simple setup, but soap fans know that safety in Chester never lasts for long. Frankie, while babysitting, realizes Jacob left his wallet behind. Rather than ignore it, she decides to step out briefly into the village to return it to him. On paper, the decision seems harmless. Yet when she comes back, Morgan is nowhere to be found. Cue panic, police involvement, and a storm of accusations. Detective Donnie Clark steps in quickly, asking tough questions about the circumstances. While Frankie knows she has left Morgan unsupervised, she becomes desperate to protect Jacob and herself. She pushes Jacob to lie to the authorities, insisting that they should both say he was in the house the entire time. It's a mistake that will haunt them both. Darren's distrust boils over. Nobody is more furious than Darren Osborne. Darren has never truly trusted Jacob, and with good reason. Jacob's past, tied up in Kat's exploitation group, left Darren convinced that he was capable of terrible things. When Morgan goes missing, Darren's suspicion zeroes in immediately on Jacob. His mind leaps to Claire Devine, the manipulative and dangerous figure who once had control over Jacob. Darren accuses Jacob of either being directly involved in Morgan's disappearance or, at the very least, still working under Claire's influence. The emotional intensity rises when Darren confronts Claire herself, interrogating her about the situation. Is she pulling strings from the shadows once again, orchestrating chaos in Chester? Jacob's protest falls apart. Jacob insists on his innocence, but his defense collapses in an instant. Just as he tries to distance himself from the accusations, his phone buzzes. A message appears, and it's from Claire Devine. That single text throws Jacob's entire credibility into question. Viewers are left wondering, is Jacob secretly still in contact with Claire? Did he lure Frankie into helping him create an alibi? Or is he genuinely trying to rebuild his life, only to be dragged back into chaos by Claire's manipulative games? The inside scoop. A Hollyoaks insider teased. Jacob and Frankie's mistake means that Morgan is now missing. Darren is convinced Jacob is involved in the abduction. On the surface, Jacob looks like he's changed. He's trying to grow up, leave the past behind, and even begin a new romance with Frankie. But Claire's text threatens to undo all of that progress. Is he still under her control, or is someone framing him? A troubled past comes back to haunt. To fully understand why Jacob is such a prime suspect, viewers need to revisit his backstory. Jacob and his mother Kat were once heavily involved in the exploitation storyline that rocked Hollyoaks. Their actions left scars on multiple families in the village, and Jacob himself became entangled in dangerous networks. His connection to Claire Devine, one of Hollyoaks' most notorious villains, has always been a red flag. Claire has manipulated, blackmailed, and threatened countless people in the past. Her influence over Jacob was deep, and even though he has tried to turn his life around, the shadow of Claire lingers. Darren's distrust isn't just paranoia, it's rooted in years of history, manipulation, and trauma. Frankie's loyalty tested. Frankie's role in the storyline is equally fascinating. She clearly cares for Jacob and wants to protect him, but in doing so she risks putting Morgan's life in even greater danger. By encouraging Jacob to lie, Frankie not only compromises the investigation but also risks making herself look complicit. The big question: will Frankie regret putting her faith in Jacob? And if Darren discovers that she pushed Jacob to lie, will he ever forgive her? Claire Devine. Puppet master or red herring? Claire Devine's name alone is enough to send chills down the spines of longtime viewers. She has been the architect of countless disasters in Chester, manipulating vulnerable people for her own gain. But is she really behind Morgan's disappearance this time? Or is her reappearance in Jacob's life a cruel coincidence, designed to distract from the real culprit? Soap storytelling often plays with red herrings, and it wouldn't be surprising if the text from Claire is only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The mystery of Morgan's whereabouts. While suspicion falls on Jacob, the real question remains: where is Morgan? Possibilities include Claire Devine's revenge. Claire could have orchestrated the abduction to punish Darren, Nancy, or Jacob himself. Exploitation gang retaliation. Morgan's disappearance could be linked to Jacob's past ties to the gang, proving that walking away from them is not so easy. A family secret. Could someone closer to the Osbournes, perhaps an estranged family member, be responsible? Complete misunderstanding. In soap tradition, there's always the possibility that Morgan wandered off, and the situation escalated into a misunderstanding, though the involvement of Claire makes this unlikely. What this means for Darren and Nancy. For Darren and Nancy, the disappearance of Morgan is a nightmare that threatens to tear their marriage apart. Darren's instinct to blame Jacob could drive a wedge between him and Nancy, especially if she believes Darren is jumping to conclusions without proof. The couple has already survived affairs, betrayals, and personal tragedies. But the abduction of their child may be the ultimate test of their relationship. Jacob's redemption arc in jeopardy. Jacob's storyline over the past year has been about growth and redemption. Viewers have seen him try to rebuild his life, step away from crime, and even begin a new romance with Frankie. Yet redemption in Hollyoaks never comes easy. One mistake, one message, or one bad decision can drag a character straight back into darkness. Jacob's determination to prove himself may crumble under Darren's suspicion and Claire's haunting presence. Fan theories begin. Already, fans have started speculating about the storyline. Popular theories include Claire using Jacob as a scapegoat to cover her own actions. Frankie accidentally leaving the door open, leading to Morgan wandering off. A new villain entering the village under the guise of the abduction. Jacob deliberately misleading Frankie to protect her from Claire's threats. The beauty of Hollyoaks is that the truth is rarely simple, and the fallout will ripple across the village. The stakes couldn't be higher. With Morgan's safety hanging in the balance, every character involved faces enormous stakes. For the Osbournes, it's about saving their child. For Jacob, it's about clearing his name and proving he can change. For Frankie, it's about realizing the cost of misplaced loyalty. And for Claire, if she is indeed behind the scheme, it's about reclaiming her crown as Chester's ultimate manipulator. What happens next? The upcoming episodes promise tense interrogations, shocking twists, and emotional fallout. Will Darren's accusations turn out to be correct? Will Jacob finally break free from Claire's grasp, or sink deeper into her control? Most importantly, will Morgan be found safe before it's too late? One thing is certain. This storyline is set to dominate Hollyoaks in the weeks ahead, delivering the kind of edge-of-your-seat drama that fans love.